The Alpine stitch is worked over an odd number of stitches. So I just have 17 single crochet here to start myself out. I've seen the Alpine stitch done like 2 or 3 different ways. This is the way that I've seen it done most often and the way that I like the best. So this is the way that I'm going to show you. Okay, so we have our odd number of stitches to start off with. I have 17 here. That can be just a chain of 17 and then whatever you need for turning and whatever, but I like to just give myself a nice little single crochet base to work off of. So for the first row of the Alpine stitch, you are going to do, I do a doubled chain 2 is what I do when I need a, counts as your first double crochet stitch, but you can do just a regular chain 2 or chain 3, whatever you like to use. And now all you're going to do is continue to double crochet into each stitch across. So that counted as our first double crochet, and now we're going to keep on putting double crochets into each stitch across. And that will be the end of our first row of the Alpine stitch. Okay, we have 1 more stitch left in this row, and I'm changing colors every row just for visual help so you can see what each row really looks like. So I'm going to do my last yarn over and pull through in the next color, and there is the first row of our Alpine stitch, which is just a row of double crochet. This next row is also super simple. We're just going to turn our work and chain 1 to get our hook up to the height of a single crochet, but that does not count as a stitch, and we're going to single crochet into each stitch across. So since that chain 1 did not count as a stitch, we do need to put a single crochet into the very first stitch and then into each remaining stitch all the way across. So the first row of the Alpine stitch was just double crochets all across, and the second row is just single crochets all across. And this row that we're doing right now, this yellow row, is going to be the first row of our 4-row repeat to make the Alpine stitch. So the Alpine stitch, it has this setup row of the double crochet across, and then it's got a 4-row repeat. So we'll do the next 4 rows, and then we'll start over with the yellow and do those 4 rows over and over again to make the Alpine stitch. Now I've gotten to the end of my single crochet row, and for the very last yarn over pull through, I'm going to go ahead and use my new color, because like I said, new color every row. So there you go, our second row of the Alpine stitch. Okay, now it is time for our second row of our 4-row repeat. We go ahead and turn our work and start with a doubled chain 2 or just a regular chain 2 or chain 3, however you like to start your double crochet rows. Okay, and then we go ahead and double crochet into the next stitch. All right. Now we are going to make a front post treble, not in the next stitch, not around the next stitch, but around the stitch below the next stitch. So it will be the 3rd stitch of the round below. Here's the first, the second, the 3rd stitch. So I wrap a yarn over twice, and I make my front post stitch around that 3rd stitch of the row below. 1, 2, 3, okay. And now I'm not working into the next stitch in this yellow row, because I just did the front post treble below it instead. So I'm going to make a double crochet in the next stitch. I'm not working into this one because that's what the front post treble was. I'm working into this one to make a double crochet. I'm going to repeat those 2 again. I'll do that a little closer this time. So I'm going to make a front post treble into the stitch below the next stitch, so down here, or around the stitch below the next stitch. Okay. And then I don't work into that stitch, I make my double crochet into the next one. Okay, and again, front post treble, and then a double crochet, taking care to skip that stitch. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you make that mistake, because it's an easy mistake to make, but it's also an easy mistake to identify. So here's my front post treble. Now I'm going to accidentally put my next double crochet right here. Okay, so now when you turn this over, you can see all of these double crochets have this like one extra stitch in between them, and these two don't. That's because I made that mistake. So if you notice, when you get to the end and you notice everything looks a little wonky, you have too many stitches, whatever, turn your piece over and see if you did that somewhere, because it's a very, very easy mistake to make. Okay, I know that I certainly do it quite often. I get into the zone and start going along, and then you don't even realize that you made the mistake until like something doesn't work at the end or whatever. Okay, so just keep on going to the end. Now we keep on going, and then there's just these 2 stitches left, right? We've done this front post treble. We don't work into this stitch, so we work into this stitch. We do the double crochet. You're not doing a front post treble around for the next stitch. You're actually ending with another double crochet. So this row both starts and ends with 2 double crochet. So there's 2 double crochet, and then you go front post, double, so on and so forth, and then you end with 2 double crochet as well. Okay, so that is the end of our second repeat row, and like I said, I'm changing colors every row, so I actually want to do the last yarn over pull through with my new color, and cut this one, toss it off, and there you go. There you are. There's the second of our repeat rows. Okay, now the next row, the third of our repeat rows, is actually the same as the yellow row. We just chain 1, it does not count as a stitch, and then we single crochet into each stitch across. There we go, last one, and I'm changing colors, so let me grab the next color. Flip this one, and there you go. That is the third of our 4-row repeat. Okay, time for the last row in our 4-row repeat. We go ahead and turn and start with a double chain 2 or chain 2 or chain 3, whatever you like. Okay. And now we are going to front post treble crochet, not around the next stitch, but around the stitch below the next stitch. Okay, so right here, front post treble. Then we're not working into this single crochet because we did the treble here instead, the front post treble here instead. So we're doing a double crochet into the next single crochet, then a front post treble around the next double crochet in the row below. Okay, now it's going to get a lot easier to figure out where these front post trebles go, because they're always going to go into the double crochets in between the previous front post trebles. Okay, but it's still really easy to make this mistake here where you work into here instead of here, so make sure you're not making that mistake. So keep on doing your double crochet and then your front post treble around the stitch in the row below. Not working into the single crochet you should have skipped. Double crochet, front post row below, and just keep on going across. Okay, we have 2 stitches left. Front post treble, row below, and then double crochet into the very last stitch. Okay, show you that. All right, so the yellow, green, blue, and purple rows are our repeat rows. We do a row of single crochet, and then we do a row of the 2 doubles, then front post double, all the way across, ending with 2 doubles, a row of single crochet, then 1 double, front post double, all the way across, ending with just 1 double. Okay, so there you have the Alpine stitch. Let me show you how to put, well, putting a border on top of this one, super simple. Some of these stitches are harder to figure out how to get the right number of stitches across the top if you want to just do an even, you know, stitch across the top something, but for this one it is super simple. Going to redo that last yarn over pull through, and then if I want a single crochet row across the top, I'm just going to chain one and then just single crochet into every single stitch across the top. Okay, we're coming up on the end here. I single crocheted into each stitch across, and if I was counting, I should have still had the same number of stitches I started with, which was 17. Okay, so there we have it from the back. And if we turn it over, here we have it from the front. So really, when it comes down to it, you can end on any of the rows, all right? You end on any row you want to. It just depends on the look that you like. You can change the colors here every single row. You can do it all in one color. What I see done the most is 2 colors at a time. I mean 2 rows at a time in the same color. Okay, so it would be 2 rows of one color, then 2 rows of another color, so that you end up with a look. I'll show you a picture after this. I'll put up a picture of a piece that's made that way, and that way you can see what it looks like when you're doing 2 rows at a time in the same color. And the nice thing about that, of course, is that it's a lot easier to carry your yarn up the side of your row, because you go one way and then back the other way, and then when it's time to change colors, you're back on the same side again. You don't have to cut your yarn at the end of every single row that way. All right, so there you go, the Alpine Stitch.